It is said when you take a picture of someone, you capture their soul in the camera. It is also said that if you print off that picture, it contains the soul itself, and you can control them with it. I'm not sure where to start. Do you know what the primordial soup is? A veritable ocean of elements, all floating around randomly. And through millions of years of time, eventually, the right set of random circumstances came to pass, and the elements were able to connect and gather into the world's first single-cell organism. Now, that's a really boiled-down version of it, but I'm sure you get the gist of things. Fast forward a few billion years to the early 1990s, when internet use began to rapidly accelerate. Every home had a computer, and new connections between computers were opening on a by-the-second basis. Trillions of bytes of data began to transfer around the world at the speed of light. Music, text, sound, and most importantly, pictures. Now, if you take a picture of someone and capture their soul, what happens when that picture is converted to data and placed on a hard drive? Does the soul follow? 15 years later, we believe so. We believe that when you take a picture of someone and upload it onto your computer alongside the image data, a blueprint of the person's soul is imprinted on the file. Look at your pictures folder. Just how many souls reside in there alone? That's just the beginning. These soul blueprints each retain pieces of a puzzle, parts of the soul itself as well. Recently, a group of hackers who refer to themselves as the Cardinals took an interest in this theory and began experiments. They found anomalies within the binary sequences of images based on similar features of the person they had taken a picture of. A binary DNA, if you will. These hackers had come to possess a set of 3 extremely important data files, one AVI, one JPEG, and one MP3, each of which possessed interesting, unexplainable qualities. The first, Cradle.avi, depicts what appears to be a group of teenagers with a low-resolution camera exploring the basement of a house. The quality of the video is distorted beyond any comprehensibility, and the video is very grainy. For most of it, the camera is passed around the group, handed back and forth, and jerked around too much to make anything of consequence out. But near the end, the camera turns at an odd angle, and you can semi-clearly make out a young girl standing in the corner facing the wall. Her hair is long and black, and she's wearing some sort of white dress. You can only see her for a split second, but many people who've watched the video claim there seems something wrong with her, like she's a bit deformed, but not in a way anyone can explain. The truly peculiar property of this video is what happens to the user's computer at the end of it. On the last second of the video, if not already so, the video will force full screen itself. You are left with a 1-second looping clip of a wall and a window. It loops 15 times, and then the girl is seen again, standing on the other side of the window with her back to the viewer, slowly wavering back and forth. After a few moments, the video ends and the user's computer permanently shuts down. The inspection has shown that the entire registry has become completely corrupt, requiring the user to do a total wipe and reinstall. The second file is known as needles.mp3. The sound file, when played, goes on for about 3 minutes. It is extremely distorted. One can occasionally make out some form of voice talking, but most of the sound is some form of growling, rolling, cracked roar. Users who listen to this file often experience extreme nausea and loss of balance for a period of time. The final file is known as burningman.jpg. The file name has nothing to do with the actual image depicting. Instead, it displays a haphazard mess of overlaid, meshed images of dolls and a hallway. There also seems to be an image of a man standing with his head cast down in the background, but the picture is too distorted to make anything out, much like the other files. The image, when downloaded, opened on a user's desktop, will proceed to stay permanently on screen on whatever program it is opened through. Not only that, but the program becomes disabled. Nothing else happens. The image just permanently sits there on your desktop, unclickable, unminimizable. You are just left there with the man's invisible gaze staring at you. From what the group of hackers were able to discern, this file seems to have pre-compiled into the data something along the lines of CMDOW. Yet, as complex and intricate as the program is, it works across all OS platforms. No one knows who the original creator is. In fact, few people have heard of it, as the file is uncopyable nor sendable. This further adds to the mystery, as often receivers of this file will obtain it from random anonymous emails posted on forums or as download links. Posing the question, how was that poster able to upload it? If you ever see these files, refrain from downloading any of them. They all have varying detrimental effects on your computers, from taking out your whole registry, corrupting System32, freezing your mouse, or crashing your computer. Now, this group of hackers, the Cardinals, took to analyzing these 3 files and comparing their odd behaviors. They had heard of other such strange files, images, data, etc., but were never able to get their hands on them, at least as far as we know. Though, rumor states that they were, in fact, able to locate and collect all of these mysterious files, like the original smile.jpg, Barbie.jpg, and even suicidemouse.avi. Not even the grifter was able to escape their grasp. But rumor also claims the grifter video even exists. But that's another story. Nonetheless, with all these files in hand, the group lined them up and began to meticulously work through the binary, 1, 0, and 1, at a time, checking for similar strains in series of the binary DNA that matched. And they did manage to successfully do so. The legend states, the result was 7 individual executable files that did nothing, simply a gibberish pile of 1s and 0s. They endlessly puzzled over these files, each tackling an executable each. They decided to name them after themselves: lust, gluttony, greed, envy, sloth, wrath, and pride. At last, they attempted to line the files up, when remarkably, something happened. Their copies quite suddenly meshed together. The result was a single, complete exe named Barely.breathing.exe. And what of this file? Well, nothing much is known after that point. They were too smart to simply execute it. They analyzed the file in every possible manner. Hex, binary, conversions, anything to figure out what it would do. It was to no avail, however. Even after being formed together, it was an even bigger jumble of ones and zeros, and made no more sense than the separate files. They backed up the file on a flash drive and proceeded to run it. That was the last command found on any of their computers a week later. Their corpses had been disfigured beyond recognition. Descriptions of them stated that it was almost as if they had been brutally slashed across their faces and arms. Every square inch of skin that was bare had been mutilated and almost microwaved, and then sliced repeatedly by a micro-thin razor. The government attempted to hush up the event, but there was some media leakage, and because of the Cardinals had been keeping a blog amongst themselves and their close friends, it's closed down now, so don't go trying to find it. It quickly spread, as per what they had been attempting to accomplish, whether it was or was not related to their terrible deaths. And what of the flash drive? A friend who knew of its existence later checked the home of the group and was unable to find it. According to reports, the drive was found in the pocket of one of the Cardinals. It had been taken into custody by the police, where it simply vanished. The trail continues on far more. The file resurfaces every few weeks around the globe. Governments attempt to cover it up, but media leaks regardless, of course. Look to the news for people mutilated in their own homes by a murderer and their computers stolen, etc. And if you ever get a cryptic email with an attachment labeled barelybreathing.exe, for fuck's sake, do not open it.